perhaps, but I'm starting to think that this is probably going to be a 2-0. We'll see as things get ready to get started. Finally, the delay is done. Everything's fixed, and the match is live.
Wow, I like that aggression from David B. He pushes forward, a couple of dink shots, and then confidently grabs the orb. That'll give him another point towards the resurrection. And already the swing from Petitek. He'll take out his alter ego Eccles. They're trying to get this spike down on the A site, but so far it's G2 that are able to push them back, and it's just down to one final player here. Solkis on the raise. He's got the spike in hand, but unfortunately all his friends are dead. He's the last one standing, and he's heading over towards that B site.
Solkis may have had a great game yesterday on Bind against Nip, but a 1-on-5, pretty difficult scenario. He does have Spike, and he's over towards B. Everyone else over on this A site, there's a Cypher Cam watching for the lurk in case he comes through spawn, but they hear the nade go off. He does not feel safe, so he hasn't yet dedicated to the Spike plant. But he will be able to get it free and clear inside the tuna can as the boombot goes out. Nope, here's the footsteps. Takes the first fight, wins it, and then rededicates himself to that spike plant. The pulse is coming out from the recon dart, not giving away his position, but there's targets everywhere. There's the jump peak coming through. So at least they do end up getting a spike plant and 1 kill. Because up until that moment, it was a disastrous round for FISH123.
Yeah, that's the difference between towards the B and the A site.
Aldrone moving in mid, spots out the Sage initially. FISH123 doesn't look to be bringing a whole lot into the round. You can see the rifles already equipped here for a few. The T-Tech's gone to the Bulldog, but there's SMGs on a couple as well. Standard second round loadout coming in from G2. Right now the Spike's back on short. And FISH123 is mostly grouped up there. They're using the Aldrone to lead the charge into Hookah. But there's no one in Hookah right now. They're playing back a little bit further, and it looks like they're just making noise there to try and bait them into a rotate. But G2's been playing a 3-player hold over on B, and with this long push coming out from Artis and the Sage, they're getting a lot of information. There's that first peek coming in from Petitek that will also give away a little bit more intel. They'll start to rotate over. What they don't realize is there's going to be a pinch. Great paranoia coming in from Petitek to slow things down. Counter paranoia coming out, but it doesn't quite connect. Petitek has to back off as the nades are coming through. Yikes, that's tough to get away from Solkis peaks as the nade detonates, and it will be site control here for FISH123.
Yep, we'll see a couple of those shots start to ring from Mixwell, but it's Artis from behind stealing that frag onto Eccles. It's still 4 strong here for FISH123. They got to start that retake. Pith alongside Scream are trying to divide and conquer as they push in through lamps. The slow orb will make it difficult for Solkis to get out of here. They're just trying to get a little bit more athletic. Pith, a great slow swing through the orb, and they will just decimate one at a time, player after player, in FISH123's force up. Not really going their way, as they'll get that spike defused. Mixwell getting another point for his Blade Storm, and that's a 2-0 start here for G2.
Reposition towards long. They do have 2 players over here currently on the B site, with one starting to rotate over, so they don't have that standard 3-player B defense that we've seen from other teams when it comes to Bind.
Well, we did see Artis pull over. He has kind of joined his team, thinking it might be the B push. So far, the correct read, but FISH123 are just kind of hovering around, moving on to the actual round at hand. You know, talking about some of these sheriffs, it's really only NIP that we've seen make those sheriffs work. Yesterday, they were winning rounds that theoretically they should not have been. As David P opens up the frag onto Cryptix, the dry peak not really going to work out for FISH123, and it's just down to the 4v5. You know, I really want someone to put together the statistics. I might even have a look at this myself. How many rounds have FISH123 won on the second round force up after they lose the pistol? Because if it hasn't been working, if that win rate is below 50%, then why not just like suck up the pistol and go on rifles for that third round and have a better chance? Because now they're just bleeding 3 pretty much for free. But we'll see if they're able to get any of these sneaky little picks. David P from behind, a great lurk through Hookah. He'll just spray them all. Link will find one onto Pith, but it's just down to the last and final player in Hookah.
Especially with him playing the Jet, feels like he has an agent that is just more equipped for that type of play. Mixwell gets across, yeah, and the wall comes through and he has to dash back after being spotted out early. So changes positions, no shots coming out early from Mixwell despite the aggression.
FISH123 looking towards the A site now, and that Stampede tells us they are looking to execute relatively soon. It's a lot of utility used back a site and towards A short from both sides of the attack and the defense, but it's Solkis that wants to get a little bit more involved. That's the showstopper. It'll find its mark onto Artis, and now 4 remain for G2. The defense have arrived. The wall is up. The spike is down, and now it is up to G2 to get that retake underway.
Oh, you've got one holding the showers. Omen gonna take out Link. You've still got the Jet Mixwell on site. David P taking out one through the cyber cage. Gonna find another as well as he walks into the ice, slowly inching towards the U-Haul, where you've currently got the Sage going through and a great Paranoia coming out to blind him. It's all up to Eccles in the one-on-many. Managed to take it down.
123 like to go on and have been picking as their comfort pick, as their home map, as Tom likes to say, instead of Split. So I find that quite hilarious that FISH123 kind of gets sent to the lifeline if it ends up going to that third map. So far, if we were to base it off of the first 4 rounds, not looking like it'll be the case. G2 has had such a strong start here. Of course, we've only had, 1 gun round, 2 gun rounds. Hasn't really had a lot of space for FISH123 to show us what they're capable of, and the fact that we're on another pistol looks like it's going to be another round for G2.
Oh my gosh, the Sage Wall. It's a gamble, and the peak does not work out well. We were just singing praises of David P, but the aggression results in his immediate death. The ult coming out, though, the Hunter's Fury. He leaps up into the sky. The Pulse is going to connect, actually hitting multiple targets. They try to push up quicker as Pith had a dart in his belly, giving away his position, and they will end up hitting that shot, but it's down to 2. It'll be the Omen and the Sova trying to work their way through on B long. Artis in sight inside the tuna can, using the dark cover as a bit of cover. And yeah, Eccles goes for the port inside that smoke, and Artis is just there waiting for him with the spike in his possession. The last remaining player is very low on HP over towards Octagon. Mixwell wants it very badly, but can't quite get it in time as Petit Tech is there.
Bind is probably the closest map when it comes to being attacker or defender sided, as we see an engagement from Petit Tech. That'll be a quick res onto Link, as the trade there is good. But still, it's the 4v5 and G2. They just lost a member with an aggressive push.
Pith smoked out in heaven. Link's gonna use that Owl drone to get intel on the site. Cryptics with a quick pick off onto Mixwell, and now they've got some site control. Artis is still here. He's over in U-Haul using shock darts to try and slow things down. Pith behind the smoke ends up putting a camera out. Well, at least get some intel, but the camera taken down almost immediately by Eccles. Eccles has to change positions, and the spray through the wall almost takes him out. He's very low on HP. Artis is still here in U-Haul, still being a problem. David P goes wide with the peak. Cryptics gets another on the round. Pith will chime in finally with the Phantom from Heaven, sending the rays flying to the netherworld, but it's Artis who has to come up big. He's very low on HP, just 27 remaining, and he's got a 1-on-3. One target is low, but the Sage goes with the wall to his right. All they have to do now is time the peaks out from Shower, and this round is all but unwinnable, so Artis decides to bail out. Gonna save that weapon and bring it in the next round. FISH123 finally get themselves on the board.
This is a round that they needed to win, to be quite honest. You know, moving on to buy in the following round. So pretty important that they continue their hold and continue not letting FISH123 into these sites. But that was a great push in that previous round.
Can they do it again? Can they find a couple of rounds in a row? Artis has to be careful as there's a couple of targets around the corner, but they don't push through. The Owl drone will spot out the first one inside the dark cover. So that'll keep them back just a bit. The Raze was there to help with the backup. Artis is going to have to fall out of hookah as the nade comes through and does a little bit of damage. But he escapes for the most part unharmed, only down to 88, but it does strip a significant portion of his armor. Recon Dart not giving him any intel right now. There are a lot of bodies built up outside of hookah. There's also two in showers currently lurking over on the A site, the Omen and the Cypher. Solkis goes in first with the Owl drone right in front. Shots from the left, and they still haven't decided to back off until just now. So at 40 seconds left, they start to rotate around towards the A site. And they've done what they wanted to do. They pulled a player off of the A site defense. There's only one here. It's Mixwell. So when the push comes through, it's going to be quite difficult, especially as they have that Omen port available.
Oh, I like that move from the Recon Bolt. He gets out of position and manages to find the frag. It's Eccles that goes down. the in-game leader, no longer a part of the conversation, but can he call from beyond the grave? The rest of the team starting to funnel in to get that spike down with just 10 seconds left. Imagine if there was an orbital strike right about now. That spike would not be going down. Pith will find one. It's just down to 3 for the side of FISH123, and they are not looking so good here. Mixwell trying to find an opportunity. Thought he saw somebody up there on the box with the boost. It's the Sage. And now G2 will start to funnel in Soulcast in very deep water here as he'll be taken out. But Scream manages to survive long enough to find a 3K. It's all up to Link. David P, with the classic of all weapons, will take out the Sova player. And now G2 give us a 6-1 scoreline, a 5-round lead. FISH123, that one's gotta hurt.
But impact. It's all about impact. And it's only a matter of time before Mixwell has some ridiculous round and just picks off one after the other. We've seen it at times from G2, even specifically on this map, shots through smokes because of recon darts that were sent out from Artis. But right now our eyes are on David P as he goes for the peek into the ice. Solkis will go down, and there is no res available for FISH123, so they'll be working with the disadvantage.
I think they used it last round too, if I'm not mistaken, which means that it's going to be not available for quite some time. David P gets into a little bit of an engagement. Patitek that is there to try to defend the push in from Hookah. Still, FISH123 held up in this bottleneck of B short. While on the opposite side, we do see Eccles getting a little bit more involved on that A side. A couple of trades here as Artis is ready for that push in into Lamps from Eccles, and somehow he's already rotated over towards the A side. I like that call. Quick moving from B all the way over to A after an early pick in the middle. It's just down to 2 for FISH123. They've got the weapons available, but really, how much longer will they survive? Patitek, he sees the barrel of the gun. Wait, did he not see that there? I swear it peeked out through. And now seeing that cyber cage, that'll give the confirmation that someone is there. Someone is lurking around in Hookah. Both 2 members remaining. It's going to be very difficult for FISH123 to break open onto this site.
Cage triggered.
They're trying to make their way out. Cryptics will fall first. Scream now on the other side of the cyber cage, just trying to spam away. But not going to connect. Actually, as he goes for an escape route, tagged down and realizing the round is over. So he's going to throw the wall up and then just wait on the other side and then probably go for a last-minute port across the map once the pressure comes through, and that's exactly what ends up happening. He's going to try and hold for this one. We'll see if they actually decide to challenge. They're currently just
Scream. And we've seen how deadly Scream can be, but when you're dealing against 3 thirsty fraggers that are looking for those opening picks, what do you do, really? You know, you try to smoke off, you try to blind your opposition from pushing forward, you try to make them feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you really have to actually use the utility to make them feel uncomfortable. Like, how are they pushing forward into B short and finding opening picks? Like, that should not be happening, or rather, FISH123 should not let that be happening.
Artis again inside Hookah, playing right around the corner, hoping to survive, but just taken out through the box. They've seen him do it just far too many times. There's one inside the tuna can as well. That's Mixwell going down, doesn't even get a peek out, so it's up to Pith, who's around the corner, and they just blew the wall, trying to get over top of the cyber cage, but Pith gets nothing. So now it's down to 2, a promising look right now from FISH123, as they've made their way onto the site. What can they do, though? It comes down to 1. It's Patitek coming in.
FISH123. That's 3 members in the Wishbone saying, how do we even get out of our own spawn without G2 trying to peek us?
What's wild right now is you have 9 ults currently available. There's a lot that could happen in this round. FISH123 have so much at their disposal when it comes time for that take. And they're currently moving towards the B site, and this would be the right move. You've only got the Sage here. Sova started to rotate out of position, so it's up to David P. as Artis has backed off. There's the ult being popped by Artis for the time being, going a little bit vertical as he pops the Hunter's Fury, but won't actually take anybody out. David P using an aggressive wall. We've seen this time and time again from David P. Loses track of his target inside the smoke, so can't quite connect. But look at this, Mixwell coming in. Shock Dart as well is there. It's down to 2. FISH123 went for the push on B, but it hasn't worked out well for them at all. Echo's going to go for the spike plant on site. Eccles, though, has Mixwell right around the corner. At least Cryptics was able to take him out before that would be a threat, but with the paranoia still active, he goes inside the tuna can and just cannot survive. 1 fatality on the round for G2. These are the types of rounds that we're seeing from them as they are consistently stomping out push after push from FISH123.
Where FISH123, they break open onto a site, the utility works out for them, But even in that push on towards that B site, David P was like, I've got the cross. Don't worry. If they push in, I'll find one, I'll find two. And then when they're looking at David P, all of a sudden, the rest of the team comes in for the crossfire. So FISH123 need to be very careful, but let's see how this push towards A works out.
Oh, no, the timing. That smoke starts to fade. The paranoia, though, going to bail him out as Patitech again inside the showers this time, locking down that portion of the map. The Rays in sight did go for the showstopper. Doesn't really make too much of a difference on the push. Nice shock dart coming out towards Heaven. That'll bring Pith a little bit lower. There's the ult being popped as well as they know the res came through. Does it take anyone out? No. Link. Actually, yes. Link hits the double pulse onto Mixwell. A peek in towards Spawn from Scream. Almost worked on Artis, but he was ready for that and waiting. Great damage dealt. Shock dart in to finish off the last bit of HP remaining. But the spike is currently inside showers, and the attack is a little bit leery of moving into that position. There's David P now coming up from short and bringing things all down to Link. The Sova, we talked about it, not necessarily an agent he feels as comfortable with as he does the Sage. How does that affect his play here in the 1v3?
Yeah, may want to just save the weapon. There aren't too many rounds left. In fact, I think the next round is the last and final round. He gets tagged by the camera. They know exactly where he is, trying to push forward. You will find one, but unfortunately that clip runs dry.
This game coming in for G2. Fantastic performance thus far. Eccles, the opposite Omen, struggling at times in that Omen role, has a lot on his plate, being the IGL and the operator player and the Omen. Just a lot of responsibility there. David P went a little bit aggressive with the peek initially, and he gets taken out. Eccles is back sight, and now he's trying to punish as well. There's still one here in position who is Mixwell towards Spawn as well, trying to offer up some support, but now it comes down to the man we were just praising, the Omen. A 1-on-5, a third round looking likely here for FISH123. So sure, they end the half with an exclamation point, but for the most part, it's been a dull first half for FISH123. They desperately need to pick up that pistol in that second half. As he goes for the peak, first one's going to be his, but obviously the trade is there. So FISH123, they cap it. We'll see how they can turn things around here. You do worry when you have players like Mixwell and David P on the attack, a player who plays the aggressive Sage quite well. Scream right around the corner, sees that Cyber Cage come through, tries to fire away on the other side of it, has to dive bomb the box. Mixwell won't allow him, doesn't even see his feet touch the ground. The spike does get planted, significant nade damage coming in from the Rays. Nice smoke from Mixwell to get him out of that position and into a more safe and comfortable spot in the U-Haul. A 5-on-4, but you can see the damage dealt. Sova's on about half HP. Omen very, very close to death. Solkis is going to send the Boombot in first, going right behind it.
Nice
Great paranoia coming out to slow them down. Mixwell will pick one off in the meantime. Another paranoia coming out. This one working out nicely for FISH123. Cryptix goes around the corner, and now it comes down to one. It comes down to Artis on site. Fantastic retake coming out from FISH123 here in the pistol.
You know, will they have time, though? Oh, they don't! They win the duel! It is, of course, going to be G2 that win the round. And that puts them at double digits. Bach, it's not looking so good here, but it's still the force up from FISH123, something that we expect them to do. We'll see if it works out and pays off for them.
I mean, they naturally go with that because of the score being what it is, and the fact that that round came down to what it did. We'll see if it produces success. Eccles right around the corner with a judge, and the armor's been stripped down a little bit, so has his HP. There's a shot coming in from sight. I think it was a Marshall. The body's right now building up towards B long, but it looks like they might be heading back towards spawn. Thought for a second we were going to see kind of a flirtation with B from B long, and then if they don't get their way into the site, they obviously go for the mass TP back to A. But instead, they're just going to run through spawn and through the wishbone back towards that A site. And right now, FISH123 is slowly siphoning assets off the A site. But as I say that, they go for a 180. So 3 players now on the A site, the Cypher, Raze, and Sage. But we're seeing a recommitment from G2 towards B. So Eccles still going to be in hookah, still going to get challenged, drops off the box. Paranoia is perfect. They know he's around the corner, but it doesn't make a difference. The shotgun is so incredibly powerful. Speaking of shotguns, you've got Link here as well with the Bucky. One through the Cyber Cage looking for more. Great damage dealt. But now it's Eccles who has to step up. Oh, the dash out from the Jet working out nicely, but it's Cryptix who has survived the round with 3 kills coming in.
If teams start to read FISH123, if they just hold on to the pistols, and then have a gun round on the third round, and FISH123 is in a weird economic position. I wonder if that's a great counter, but more theory crafting will have to kind of come of it. Mixwell, of course, has the Bladestorm available, looking to use it quite effectively here. Unfortunately, can't land those knives, and now having to get out of a sticky situation. It's the rest of the team that are trying to hold off these pushes coming in from all angles on that A side. Solkus has got the Bulldog and now swaps places with Eccles, who's only got a Frenzy and a Marshall, but can't use the Marshall at close range. It's G2 that pull off. They'll find a pick. Pith manages to escape too, and they'll start to hunt him down. But why? They've taken the connector. They're getting that spike down, and the B site is ready for the post plant.
How does G2 handle this one, though? The numbers working against them, just pistols in their possession. You've got Mixwell around the corner, low on HP, and Solkus isn't having any of that. Sprays him down through the box. 25 HP for the Raze as he leaps out the window. Petitek's here, and he's got 71 HP and a classic. First shot right on the money. Takes the second exchange. Obviously not going to go his direction when the Bulldog starts firing away. So the round will be FISH123's.
Do you really need the armor? I think they're anticipating picking up some weaponry from the defense, which of course they've got guns locked and loaded. A smoke here early in the middle. I'm going to assume that was Eccles just trying to block off the vision of them pushing forward. A slow orb as well to follow suit. You have to wonder if that was Scream delaying that push from B short. But it's still 3 committed towards this B site from the side of FISH123. And on the opposite side for G2, Pith having a little bit more of like a lurking role as he's gathering information in the showers. Maybe even going to grab that orb to boot, make a little noise. And G2, now they're ready for the push in. They'll start to hover in around Hookah as Mixwell gets aggressive. It's a wall to stop the push further from Scream, but they'll still get that spike down, and little do they know that wall actually helps G2 in the process. And now it's a weird retake. Echo's going to find one with the operator. That's going to be great, but that wasn't even on the B site. That was the A site, but it doesn't even matter as G2, they fall left and right just down to David P, and he's on the retreat with the Ghost.
Yeah, that's going to be their round to take yet again as G2 managed to find at least site control. David P is waiting around the 1500. We talked about Mixwell struggling, but Pith has really been struggling. Currently sitting at 5 kills in this second half. We are 16 rounds deep going into round number 17. Not exactly the performance we expect to see. Petitek goes aggressive, has to drop the spike back behind him, and in that time, Scream gets into a better position and takes him out through the box, tries to go for the leap, but it doesn't really matter. Scream's found 3. Mixwell has to peek for the punish, and they brought it down to now 2 and upgraded to an operator. The Boombot going to give away the position there of Pith, but they knew he was present anyway. Almost blew up. Had he not had that operator available to him, would have been a little bit deadly. Right around the corner, there is the Raze, spotted by the camera, taken out immediately, naturally. What do they do, though? How do they readjust? The Aldrone goes in first. The Raze peeks behind it. And the Satchel Pack also going in towards Showers. Mixwell has not re-peeked off Cat, currently just holding back right now. Starting to move up closer to the A site, and again, the Raze has gotten into this corner right around the edge. It's going to be a difficult fight for Pith to take, as there's one in heaven as well, ready for the immediate trade, should he go for it.
Yeah, may want to save the operator too. Mixwell gonna throw those smokes down, and as a result, that might be the cross that's trying to help the push forward. It's Solkus who's there in the back corner now.
You also have the AWP coming in from Eccles, and we talked about that AWP role, whether or not it was going to be a difficult battle for Eccles against Mixwell. To be honest, both players struggling. Eccles and Mixwell not really picking up the performance as the AWP role for either team. The rest of the team has obviously helped boost those performances up. There's the rocket pop coming out from Solkus, so that'll be Artist going out almost immediately. Now they do have the res available on both sides. There's the Boombot going in as well. The question is whether or not they can try and get that res through. So there's the res coming through, but they can't really peek freely on the back of that. Eccles does spot Mixwell as he was holding for the push to come through, just in case they tried to stop that res from being a thing. So that Mixwell going down, Eccles immediately traded out. Pushing through is going to be Solkus, and he'll take out Pith. So now it comes down to 2 here for G2. It's David P, who's in the U-Haul, peeking wide, and it's down to 1 now. It's the hero who's been fantastic thus far at times. Petitek goes ahead and sends some utility towards the site, but then the slow orb makes it incredibly difficult for him to even get out of position. Yet again, stuck behind that box. He was spammed through it a few rounds ago.
And in a matter of rounds, the G2 really need to start thinking, how are we going to put a round or 2 or 3 to close out this map? Or is FISH123 really going to catch up here on their map pick and take us to map number 2.
This is an impressive recovery from FISH123 despite the early hiccups. Now, there is that ult lead-in from Mixwell. Cryptix goes back behind the double stack, but Mixwell's already made it into elbow. That's a nice shot coming out from Scream. They have to watch out for Mixwell, who's in position, but he doesn't get a chance to even send out one of those blades. The round is to get spike plants. You can see that 3 defuses coming in from FISH123. But how many times do we see a retake, and it feels like FISH123 just doesn't even struggle in those cases?
And in some of those spike plants, it feels kind of desperate. They're like down to 2, they'll get it down, but they don't have the man advantage to really do anything. But this is a great start for G2, their first man advantage on what I presume a soft buy, not even really having the weaponry to deal with. But that's a great opening. And now Scream picking up this operator. That's going to be a couple of these G2 members that have already pulled off the site. The execute was there. They brought the resources over for the side of FISH123, but now they've got complete control of this B site. And the weaponry tells us it's not the eco. They're locked and loaded, and they want to make this round number 11.
Cast a curse. My bad. It happens, you know? It happens. Shock darts going in. As they get closer and closer to the site, Artis is going to send a high recon dart, trying to get that one in towards spawn. Starts to spray through as the recon dart gets taken out. His position's been spotted, but he's on the other side of the tuna can. Link comes through with the first kill. Another one coming in from Link, and hold on. FISH123 have managed to make it a 2-on-3. David P is lurking around the back end of the play. First one will be his execution onto Solkis as well. And that's the round lost. Scream was too far disconnected from the play. Now he's got the operator as well. Doesn't want to give that one up. So G2 will find their 11th round, but FISH123 had a small window.
They just weren't expecting it. They were trying to read the situation based on where the spike was planted. So now moving on to this round, of course, FISH123 still have the economy to buy, but I think this is the last force-up that they can afford. We'll see how it opens up. Mixwell dry peaks, and that dry peak will not go his way.
Artis moving in to Hookah. There's one inside tuna can right now. It's a Cypher just playing with his camera. Spying out the angle, looking to spot him. Right now, the rest of the team, though, over on short, considering working towards the A side. You've got Solkis and U-Haul as the Rays. Holding this position right now, as now you'll see the rotate over from Artis. It will be a 4-player push up short. No one coming through from showers. Deep smoke coming out, but it's not exactly perfect. There's the camera as well. Solkis is right around this corner, ready to punish. He's got the nade as well. All he has to do is time it nicely, even though he has all that intel somehow, some way. Petit Tech is there as the Omen to punish. Scream wants to use his own wall to get some verticality to peer over the opposite Sage wall, try and find an angle, a line of sight towards the site. Instead, he'll end up falling to Pith. And the defense crumbles here on the A side. It's down to a 3-on-3 retake.
Oh, I like this from Patinik. Does he expect it? Oh, Cryptix had no idea. Oh, man, that smoke was so good. And he hit in it perfectly as it dissipated. They didn't even know each other existed until that point. Now it's just down to 2 for FISH123. Does feel like this could be map point for G2, but Eccles, he wants to be a part of the conversation. Down to the 2v2. That spike's ticking, but it's a great swing from David P. Eccles needs to get involved, but he's got the swing. It's not good. It's David P. He takes
very quiet on the map as the rest of the team has really done the heavy lifting. You still want to make sure you have that coming into the round. Deep recon dart out over on B long. David P leaping around the corner. And he'll make his way all the way up long, very far up on the push. You've got Scream playing currently in Hookah, putting the wall down a little bit further up than we typically see. The shots will come through, trying to chisel away at that ice. David P is in the octagon. Do they clear this corner with the owl drone? No. So that could be a problem. The anticipation that there's no one there, and you can see it already works out well for David P. Immediately punished. So they lose the Sage, and they lose David P., which is also important as he's been a top performer for this team at times. Solkis in position, spotted out by the dart. Mixwell hits the quick shot. Eccles spotting out Petit Tech, who tries to get into that better position inside U-Haul, will bring it down to a 3-on-3.
That's going to be the shock dart, trying to clear it out, but unfortunately does not go deep enough still. Like you said, it is the 3-on-3. They try to push in aggressively. Mixwell hopping into Lamps. Pith, unfortunately, will be smoked off, and so this might be a lot of space that FISH123 gain. The paranoia to try to stop them from pushing forward. Here's the engagement. The spray's good from Artist. It's the quick trade. Mixwell needs to get out of there, but he hops right back in, gets domed right by Cryptix, and now it's just down to Pith. The swing is good. Now down to the 1v1. It's Link against Pith, and that's going to be the first spray, but it doesn't connect through the box. The clip is starting to run dry, and it's good! It's G2 that win the first map on Bind.
Pith, really good positioning as well there in that 1v1.
Up on the rafters, on the defensive side for A, managed to get a penetration shot through Hell, and then quickly flicked over to the right. Just G2, they're prepared. They're mentally prepared for this map, but the big question mark is FISH123 prepared?
Link has a target right around the corner. It's the jet, the drone, not going to get through the door as it gets shut just in time. So that's unfortunate as they tried to use that to lead in. Recon Dart goes down. You can see the spam coming through from Solkus. That's the Sage that's made it up very far. And he turns back around to spot his target. But he'll be falling off. And again, it's a weird round coming in from the attacking side of G2. Oh, the wall just comes in a second too late, so Link will get taken out by Mixwell, who waited for that opportunity so patiently. Scream, back of sight, nice flash coming out. He's got two targets though coming his direction, and the leaping Artist proves to be too much to deal with. So the spike should be secured, and the site has been lost here. But the retake is already well underway with bodies already building up in that area. Solkus just sees his teammate go down behind him, and now Pith is there as well. It all falls onto one. It's going to be the Cypher. This round, Link, shotgun over towards B, takes out the dart. But the intended push in that area, they decided back off. They had 4 players built up there. It looked like they might actually go for that fast B play. They changed their mind. Look at Cryptix right around the corner with the Bucky. Sees the pistol first, goes for the peek. Second target there. Can't quite get the pulses from that shotgun to connect. And now he's down to 65 HP and stuck in a very difficult position. First shock dart, make it a follow-up. Nothing can be done. So now they'll be moving in with the Owl drone. They'll spot the one right outside of main with the Judge. Eccles can't even port out in time. This defense falling pretty quickly here as G2 look to have another strong round. Yes, they've been brought down to 3 in the meantime, and Scream is still in position, but he's playing the breach with a Marshall. So it's not exactly ideal hardware here for Scream. And with the spam shots coming through, he's going to back off, continuing to pop shots down towards Hell, looking for the wallbang kill. Can't quite line it up as of yet. The rest of his team still moving into position. So now one more has come through the window, and there's one also coming in on long. That'll be the Sage with the flank. The Tremor coming out from Breach, from Scream himself. Nice shots onto the site from Solkus with the shotgun. There's more currently in Hell. The Judge is going to have to do the dirty work. There's one right around the corner, and the shotgun is perfect for the scenario. FISH123 may have lost some bodies earlier on, but they stole the round away here from G2. The same, however, could be said for their opponent, who had a similar problem. The dart's going into B main. Link gonna get one as Mixwell gets a little bit too close for comfort. Link gets dropped down low on HP.
It's like I missed, but it does seem to be back in order for me on my end. One frag, of course, already gonna kick us off for FISH123. And for the side of G2, trying to make sure that this attacker side really goes well for them, and that's important for their success moving on to that second half. We saw how successful it was on Bind. It was a 9-3 finish. And now here, looking to do the same. But so far, FISH123 making it very difficult. That force up. Now G2 trying to look for another opportunity towards B. It worked last time on the pistol, but will it work again? As FISH123 are denying the push forward. The spray through the HUD actually will take out Solkus. I'm not even sure where Artist was aiming to get that frag, but they open things up with 2 picks, and now FISH123, they have to react.
Cryptix has made it up to spawn. Scream is there as well, and as the smoke comes down, the dark cover doesn't pop quick enough. This will be a solid move as there is one right around the corner that flushes him out of position straight into Eccles' aim. The pulse is coming out from the ult from Artist, end up working out for at least one. Through the smoke goes David P. Does great damage to Eccles, but afraid to repeak. because there is 2 targets there. Now he's moved over towards lane, and there's not much that Eccles can do about that one. It's all up to Cryptics here with the Phantom in the 1-on-2, down to 39 HP. They're both behind.
Spectres come out while the rest of the team able to really afford those brand new Jordans on the first day of school. Those assault rifles will be quite handy in the engagement that's about to occur. It's the A-side push. They're looking for an aggressive move in. Eccles, unfortunately, he was looking for the judge play, but he'll be dealt with quite quickly. Cryptics, one of the last points of contact as he's being flooded, won't even find the quick trade, and another round not going the way of FISH123.
Nice shock dart coming out from Solkus. It was kind of a fadeaway shot, and it works out nicely. The ult being popped as well. The Hunter's Fury couldn't find that second pulse after connecting initially. Good damage dealt here by FISH123, as now the spike goes down. Link's got a line of sight through this wall, and he can actually just walk right around it. And as he tries to peek, he'll end up taking significant damage through the edge of the wall. The recon dart looking to give away some positions. Scream spraying through that smoke. Can't actually hit as the generator is in the way. It comes down to 1 on the site.
It's a big question mark as to how the economy, where it will go and for who it will go to. A lot of Buckies on the side of FISH123, and we'll see if that ends up being quite helpful or fruitful for them, as 2 picks from David P tell us, nope, not going to be the case. And now the rest of the team will start to funnel in towards the A site.
Scream holding back a bit with the Marshal, realizing this round is very much lost. So you can see the aggressive play coming out from David P. Of course he's going for it. Why wouldn't he? He's just that kind of player. He wants the kills. Mixwell's thirsty for it too. The last 2 for the defense currently deep in mid, and Pith is going to be the first to spot them out. The shotgun actually does great damage to Pith. He's down on 13 HP. The tripwire slows down Link, but he's still there with the Sheriff. He'll upgrade to the Phantom.
Uh-oh.
But it's only got 10 bullets left. Does he have the He doesn't.
And in the North American regions, such as T1, really make this map look and feel very attacker-sided, and we probably can just chalk it up to playstyle as FISH123 get a little bit aggressive on their own front, and we'll take out an early pick from G2.
The ult coming through from Mixwell dices Link to pieces. Same could be said for Cryptics. Goes up inside the dark cover. Eccles is like, okay, that's enough of that. And as a result, it's now down to 1. It's the Omen. The T-Tech, he's on site. Goes for the dark cover towards spawn. Decides to just hide inside of it. Gonna port past. He walks a little bit too far up. Gets spotted as the barrel starts to poke through. So doesn't really work out so well for him in the 1v3. Realistically speaking, it's very rare we see Omens elsewhere that would play that level of play.
We are seeing G2 poised for this round around the middle. Have gained the control, and now Catwalk will be their next target of affection here, as they will group up together, and Link is ready with a wall, and that'll stop the push dead in its tracks, as the other team may be missing that communication. It's only Pith who really pushes forward, and he's like, guys, where are you? They've already pulled off and head towards the fruit market. They'll get caught by a tripwire. G2 really just scattered this round, not able to really communicate well, and we saw that communication in earlier in the show, how it's a mixed team. You know, the shots aren't being called by one specific person, and in that case, we really felt it with Pith taken out early.
Quick shot coming out from Mixwell onto Eccles with the operator, but the spike, it's going over to a different side of the map. So again, they'll move up towards short. You've got 2 currently playing defense here. You've got Link and you've got Scream. Scream goes down almost instantaneously to David B. The Sage v Sage battle goes the direction of FISH123. Great shots coming out from Link, as well as Mixwell will go down and result in a 2-on-2. Nice res also coming out on Scream to give them the numbers advantage in the retake.
There's going to be the Hunter's Fury from what I assume is Artis. He's going to try to get a couple of tags and maybe even look for a frag. And quite honestly, if he got that there, that would have been huge, because they would have nullified the res, but they don't in this case. Artis now having to reposition just down to 1 final player. It's Patitek, and as he peeks through the archways, it's Solkus that'll take him down.
FISH123 them getting onto the sites. This should be maybe one of the first opportunities for them to do that, given the way the buy looks. coming in from G2. I mean, it's like shotguns and pistols. It's far from ideal. Scream, for whatever reason, continues to see a peeking David P through the B connector. Kind of curious as to what the reason was for that constant challenge. Onto the site they go, though. Cryptix comes up empty-handed against the pistols. Eccles has to be careful as well. He doesn't want to peek out too close with that operator, as the pistols can unleash a flurry of bullets towards that direction. So yet again, site control, spike planted for G2. And there's another kill coming in as well. Like, this is problematic right now if you're FISH123.
Yeah, and really the biggest problem that I personally find is that if FISH123 are able to find these retakes, it's because the post plant is difficult for G2 to get into a comfortable position. We're seeing that here. Artist, he's like, where am I going? Where are we? Link finds two. Is there no communication to say that there's one fragging from behind? The entire team was looking up towards heaven, and Link was just like, okay, I'm going to line up my crosshair a little to the left, a little to the right. He took a sweet...
The full buy will come in from both teams. Scream wants to get a little aggressive towards long. There's that shock dart we've seen a couple of times come out from the attacking side. It's a couple of ricochets and it lands right inside the arches. Will do significant damage if you're going for an aggressive peek. And also will take out tripwires if you have tripwires there as a cipher. So really good play coming out from Artist to try to potentially dent someone up to start the round. The Owl drone getting flashed as it makes its way through. Scream's going to change positions as the Owl drone dies just outside the window. Scream, speaking of the window on the other side of the glass, currently looking through, seeing if anyone's going to come that direction. Causes a weird coloring effect on that dark cover, which is interesting, but he'll be backing off as they continue to gather up control of grass. They've made it up pretty far. Once they go ahead and break that glass, Eccles is done for.
Yep. You called it, but still it's Scream that is there from behind. They maybe did not anticipate the push-up up the ramp. And still that spike likely going to go down any moment now. They're going to plant what looks like to be in a new position. Not really behind the generator. And that might be the call for the post plant. You know, they've struggled with it before. Maybe that angle is better for them in holding down that spike. As they get into an engagement with Petitek, they help Scream push up forward. And now it's the man advantage. It's the 4v3. Mixwell in a great position. Shot's going to be clean. And still, I don't know if they closed that door before, but it's still wide open for the defense to funnel in. Regardless, they will funnel in from heaven. And as one, they will get picked off one at a time. Artist gets the penetration from what it looks like to be the wall there. He shoots in from long. Mixwell has a clean shot, and it's just...
Player for the side of FISH123. But there's the deep flash coming in from short by Eccles. We've talked about that flash before. The paranoia can lead them in. Link with a nice shot, making a follow-up as well. Onto David P through the smoke, no less. That spammed in chat for that one, as we've got ourselves at a 5-on-3, very early advantage coming in from FISH123.
G2 have worked with a lot less before and still can at least try to turn things around. May decide to save the weaponry, but with a minute left on the clock, if they just take these frags one at a time, they can really find themselves in a great place. But Sulcus, little does he know, that was probably the best read on the recon bolt that he's had, as now the rest of FISH123 will start to pull off of this A site, and G2 still waiting patiently for an opportunity to push forward. And that opportunity is slowly starting to come and go. So Mixwell will get into this back corner, and the rest of his team will funnel up through the middle. Likely going to go towards that fish market. But Eccles is there waiting with the Bulldog. A quick shot out to Mixwell really tells us that this round is going to start to fall apart one frag at a time.
Artist patiently waiting right around the corner, but the time ticking down lower and lower. He'll at least get the first, and now he wants to try and just find a better spot to hold on to this weapon if possible. It was great work coming out from Link with the operator. And again, at times we've talked about it. Eccles with the op. He's not too, has very consistently gained site control. They've just really struggled.
Well, that was interesting. Both trying to fight for orb control, and quite honestly, a lot of utility spent to gain that control. We're now seeing G2 poised towards Catwalk, and Eccles, he'll be in a little bit of trouble as now they'll start to swing one at a time. Finds one, but it's Scream there with two, will deny the push forward into the tree room. And now it's just down to Artist once again. The rolling red carpet is going to come out. and Scream. And so, of course, the round begins. FISH123 poised quite heavily towards that B site, but still those feelers on the pistol. We'll see how that ends up for them as they are now preparing for a look into the courtyard. No one, of course, there except Mixwell. He's waiting close towards the pizza side. And now waiting for an opportunity to at least see if anyone peeks through. The slow orb going down. A lot of smokes too. Pre-fire shots here coming in from David P. Just sending a quick message. So far, nothing for FISH123.
That was weird. My whole internet just like, I don't even know, for like not even a minute. It just like disappeared for a second and then came back. But I still could go to some websites. It was like my DNS just died. Regardless, here comes the push towards the site. Artist goes to the burst fire for the first shot. It fans out and doesn't do as much damage as you would expect. Still able to win that 1v1, but Scream is there for the immediate trade. So it's a 4-on-4. Spikes found its way towards the site. And going down inside the muck of that B site, Scream gets peeked by Mixball, starts to spam through the dark cover. They've got lane control and they've got stairs control as well. They've made their way into the house where they can trigger the door, and you can see the leaping target trying to dodge the shots coming through the wall. Paranoia into the site. Camera gives away their positions. They start to move up closer. Cryptics from back behind the default box, not able to do much, and it comes down to Scream here, trying to get through the door, but the spike's already being stuck, and it's looking like it's going to be around here for G2. There's just too much in his way to stop him from getting back in. Scream with the
attacking. So we'll see how these rounds start to pan out, and for a great start on the pistol for the side of G2. Let's see if that momentum continues, because FISH123, they might start to come online very soon.
Here we see them just playing slow right now with the SMGs that they've brought into play. Obviously, yet again, it's a force buy. This is what we've seen consistently, most specifically on this map. We see force buys on this map in more than we see, I feel like, in any other map in that second round. And I may but just be talking out of the back end of my body, but I feel like that's the thing. I feel like we've seen it a lot this tournament where teams have felt compelled to go for that second round force on the attack. Obviously, more often when they get that spike plant in the first round. Some smokes going down on B has pushed some weight in that direction. Pith has to pop the cyber cage as there's targets right around the corner, and they're just going to pour through. First one's going to be his. Super low on HP, decides to go to the sidearm. He's got support from Mixwell, but both players will go down in the end. It's a 3-on-2, and they're going to get that spike over towards the site.
Spike, of course, going to be going down, and while I was really questioning whether some of these force-ups ended up in wins for the side of FISH123, and we're seeing now before our eyes that in a lot of cases it does work. This is the second time that we've seen it really bode well for them, as G2 are struggling to really deal with that force up. They've got to come in with the weaponry too. No longer can you just hold on to a ghost in the second round and hope to buy an operator on the third. You got to get involved. You got to get active. But how can you read that? You can't. You can't anticipate the opposite team either pistoling or forcing. And so FISH123 constantly bringing it to their opposition, and it nets them around, and that will continue their lead.
And there's another shotgun coming into the mix as well. This is what you expect to see in these next rounds, and I might go back and forth for a while if they continue. I love the paranoia peek. It doesn't really help out Artis at all, but because he has the full rifle there, the Phantom, it ends up resulting in success. David B has to come all the way across the map and meet him in the middle to try and get the heal through. Scream with a dink shot received will convert in the 1v1 and bring things to a 4-on-4.
I think Scream has one of the most insane reaction times of any player. How many times I've seen him peek and just directly move his crosshair towards where it needs to be? In that instance, I think if it was any other player, Mixwell wins that. He at least gets one, and then he gets traded. But Scream's like, yeah, no, I'm not letting you do that. I'm not letting that happen. So while at close range, still manages to get the kill onto Mixwell, and now the rest of the team pushing forward together. Eccles, of course, not a part of the conversation anymore. Oh, yeah, sorry, he still is. It was the Sova on the opposite side. Sulcus that ends up falling. And now they'll push forward. David P waiting close down below. There's a great cross set up by Artis, but they're still waiting to jump in. It's a great positioning, but David P, he's hesitant on the trigger, and now Artis with 4.
We have a great map in the last map. Here he's playing fantastic as the Breach. So that bind setup, we had talked about it yesterday as well, kind of a little bit awkward for them. Now, though, it's working out nicely as they've gone back to that comfortable territory. High cam coming in, but there's the Rolling Thunder towards the A site. Surprise, there's actually no one playing defense on A currently. They're back further, so they'll be able to get onto the site, potentially free of charge. Now, Pith will peek out and sprays through to get one, at least towards the door, but the wall goes up, the dark cover is in, and the spike will be planted. And we've got ourselves at a 5-on-4 here. FISH123 have site control, and you can see the Sage is right around the corner. Heal going out as well to try and bring everyone back to full HP.
Oh, wow. Sulcus right through the floor. It's the recon bolt that spots Mixwell, and then he capitalizes on that information. They'll still try to push forward by the defense, but now it's just down to Scream. And all the last that remains is Eccles. He's got to swing around this wall. He does so, but it's Artis that's prepared with a spray from the Phantom. And now G2, they tie us up.
What do you do if you're on the side of FISH123? Because you're like, oh, come on, man. Like, we just went back and forth trading force buys. You know there was a conversation, at least for a moment, where they're like, should we do it again? The thought for now, no. Let's save. Let's wait until we can full buy. Yes, we might lose the round and give G2 the lead, but it's better for us to go that direction than to continue down this path and potentially lose it and also be worse for wear. So you can see the likes of FISH123 grouping up currently in B main. You've got a couple of bodies there. David P going to lay the wall down. I think he wanted to play on top of that one, but it doesn't go as far back into B as he had hoped. So as he tries to back off and find an angle, he'll drop off the wall, but it still does section off B main for the time being.
And that's really where FISH123 are all held up, still waiting for the opportunity to push in. And sometimes I'll see teams either they'll wait for that utility to dissipate and really leave a question mark for the opposition. And that's what we're seeing. This distraction by Sulcus is causing a lot of confusion for G2. They pulled off members from B, and then now they pull back. They're just a little undecided where are the opposition going to go. This is obviously not a spy cam that we're looking at. We're just looking at a different angle. But now the Hunter's Fury going to come in from Artis. He's going to tag one, and little does he know, he might find a little bit more than he bargained for. He'll find one as the rest of G2 will decimate the opposition that are moving forward. Unfortunately for FISH123, it's only pistols in their hands. But G2 do not lose.
Strategy that will allow them to not only gain site control, but also hold it after the spike goes down, a problem that their opposition had in that first half. Artis from distance taking out Eccles, who went towards Catwalk. A cat peek coming in as well, but Scream somehow lives a little while. He's down to 33 HP, and he's trying to get out of that position. He's trapped behind the box, but there's no one currently peeking. He's just hopeful that he can wait for now and potentially get some help. I think they're going to throw down a Cyber Cage potentially to try to get him out. Yeah, they do. So they send the Cyber Cage down from the Cypher. The heal's going to come through as well from the Sage, and that'll put things at a 4-on-4. And Scream looks like he kind of wants to stick back around towards mid, but he's going to be heading towards spawn. There's the res coming in onto Eccles, who is deep on Catwalk. It's a great move coming out from FISH123. A nice response to the early damage that was dealt by G2.
I'm quite surprised that David P hasn't healed Mixwell yet. I'm pretty sure that's why he hasn't been signed yet by G2. Just holding on to that heal. But maybe he doesn't have it, so I'm not going to fault him there if the cooldown's cooking. FISH123, they've got Sulcus, who's ready with the distraction towards the A side. But G2, they're still split twice on both sides. Sulcus trying to clear out anyone who may be hovering around that A side. But David P, he sees an army pushing in towards the B side. It's the Aftershock that pushes him even further back. And now Mixwell is going to need to get here in time quite quickly as David P's all on his lonesome. How many can he get? Finds one so far, but can he find the second? That'll be the best translation there. He'll find two. Can he find the third? Cannot. It's Scream. But how long will the team survive here for the side of FISH123? Sulcus now incredibly late on the rotation as it's just down to the defense, the Mixwell swing.
So what do? A little bit of aggression coming out from David P, peeking in towards B main. The cam gets taken down as the slow orb lands. It'll push them back just a bit. David P shows no signs of slowing down, and that's going to result in his death potentially. The flash coming out. He almost gets away somehow, but accidentally slows himself down in the attempt to reel back towards the B site. So a man advantage here for FISH123 early, and they take out David P, who's been a strong performer statistically and as the Sage. That means they lose that wall and they lose the heal as well.
Patizek, though, will be one of the first contact points alongside Pith towards this A side. They've got Tripwire set up with that Recon Bolt, about to make it very difficult. As how do you react? There's a red carpet being rolled up, but the Paranoia is at least a decent answer, but still they will lose one in the process. It's Scream that pushes forward. Mixwell, he's ready on the side. Patizek is not alone in this battle as Mixwell will provide the firepower at a distance as he pulls back towards Heaven with Artist. One kill coming in from Patizek, looking for the second, looking for the third. Patizek, yes! G2 defend yet another push, and that'll be round 11 for G2.
That is an absolute backbreak, similar to that first half, whereas G2's retakes that have been few and far between in the second half thus far, because FISH123 haven't necessarily gotten onto the site as much, but it's those retakes that are just too strong to deal with. Aggression coming out yet again, and it is punished, as there's trades going in both directions. We'll have one player who's currently sitting on the sidelines. Link is pushed up mid towards Market. Mixwell doesn't even see it coming, so assassinated by the Sage, but there's another kill coming out from Artist, who's spamming away. He's got some support coming in from the Omen as well, and it's another one! Brings it down to Eccles with the Bulldog, backside of Market, gun down.
Side, and he's really pulling G2 to the end here. This could be the last and final round for FISH123. It's
an early advantage, at least, for FISH123. Somehow it works out nicely for them. And there's David P, though, chiming in with 3 of his own. David P with a solid defense, but it's a bounce back coming in from FISH123. Don't count them out of it yet, as they found themselves in a 2-on-2. But as I say that, Scream tries to flash and gets gunned down through the wall. It's all up to Solkas, the Sova, to keep things going. First peak not going to be his. It will be G2, your champions here of the WePlay Valorant Invitational.
Yeah, you hate to go out that way. Really have to commend G2.